trip.
Sweet.
Hello?
Catch up.
Let me make sure I got the sounds hooked up. There we go.
Sweet. Let me mute my phone.
All right, I gotta do the same thing.
Yeah.
Good after, good evening.
Hell, your phone's even in the shot.
Oh, for real? Damn.
Hey.
I got you.
Probably need to pick up another power strip. All right, we got a viewer. It's probably me. Give it a moment.
I gotta share it. I ain't even shared it.
Hey, you should send it to Uncensored today.
Oh, you want it over there?
I want it all over, but yeah, especially there today.
Let me.
So we'll give it a few minutes. Tell your friends, tell your friends, tell your friends, all the friends.
Tap in. Tell a friend and tell a friend.
I'll go ahead and send it to Flint, Genesee, Michigan, whatever, Patriots.
Yeah, let me see. There we go. I get a bad signal here every time.
Oh, yeah.
I can't get a good signal here. Might have to go outside and share it.
I'm getting some. I'll get into reboot real quick.
Hey, Kathleen Clean, thank you for
tapping
in with us.
Yeah, I'll share it to Uncensored.
Here we go.
I got in HNN as well.
Okay, I'm sharing it too.
Sweet. You know, I'll even put it in Flint News and Discussion Group because I doubt they'll actually let it go. Cool. Good morning, Miss Kathleen.
Let me do
Miss Jasmine.
Let me do this. Thanks for everybody for tapping in. I know this is different because Wyntis is not in, so Trevor is taking over for the Wyntis Hall show.
Yep. As you can tell, I am definitely not a wonderful, beautiful, amazing star. I am just the other guy. That's fine. Miss Wyntis is out taking care of her spiritual health this week. So tonight I'm going to be guest hosting her show. Tomorrow I'm going to be flying solo as well. Bear with me. I'm nowhere near as good as she is, and I'm sorry about that. But we'll do what we can do and try to keep it up. Oh, so tonight isn't too bad. It's only a 2 Red Bull night. Hell, I didn't even stash them. You know it's a bad day when I'm stashing the Red Bull, right? It's like, all right, this one's down. Time to go through the next 4. But it has been a day, hasn't it, folks? Oh, there's Mr. Art. Oh, you know, he was up at like 3 a.m. this morning. That man was always... Oh! I mean, we can discuss it. I'm not opposed to that, Mr. Art. Right. So let's get to talking about a few issues running around the city. I'm not going to go into too much as to what happened in the second ward. Miss Wyntis has that one down pat already. There's been words exchanged. I'm going to let her tell that next week when she comes back on for her own show. But there were issues. And as our esteemed second ward councilwoman has said, she is not there to do Pump Station 5 maintenance. She is here to move money and pass laws. Okay. That's I know that one, Art. That is, however, rather disturbing because moving money, okay, you guys have moved a metric ton. That budget shows it. We've been saying this for a while, right, Mickey? That we're probably about to have another emergency manager. It's not about to be the city of Flint no more. It's going to be the city of Flint run by the state of Michigan. This is just, it is how it is. Last time, you know, I don't think I was here for our last emergency manager, at least not when it happened, when it took over. I was still living a blissful life of ignorance in Texas. However, last time emergency manager took over, it was for the economy, for economics, for financial and budgetary reasons. And we are going back to that now. Our last 2 budgets, have been upside down, somewhere to the tune of $15 million last year. And I want to say something equivalent or over this year. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. Some people saying, well, you don't understand the difference between a deficit and I do. And I understand that because of such things, we're going to be looking at higher water bills again this year, another water rate increase, and we're going to be looking at higher taxes. They already said they're redoing tax assessments and things are probably going to go up. Funny thing about that, I went to go pay my taxes last Friday, and I actually threw a fit. I got upset, and I threw a coffee cup. Not because of how much I owed, but because they said, new site is coming. They advertised it earlier in the month. New website is coming to pay your taxes. Sweet, cool, absolutely wonderful. Where's the new site? I'm sitting here with a tax bill now that I can't pay. Do you not want my damn money? And that's to put on the back end the fact that I have to pay a convenience fee to use my damn debit card. So now I have to pay money for you to take my money, which is just a sham outright. Even when you go in person and give them your debit card, your credit card, you're now paying 2% on the overall price. You're charging me to take more of my money, which is absolutely ludicrous. And it's all by design. Now, I'm not going to say all city council is out on this massive conspiratorial agenda because there's no way to prove it. I can say that 2 of them just follow along with whatever they're told. I'm not going to say names. However, you can already guess. I'm going to say that 3 of them are either trying to position themselves for better economic growth via resume, saying I did X, Y, and Z. Okay, whatever. Or they're trying to trade votes. And we heard it, God, what was it, Mickey? Last week, we had Councilman Quincy Murphy upset that someone didn't spend money on one of his proposed bills on a trolley, that they voted against it. So he said, I'm not going to vote for yours. So there's trading votes going around. If you vote for me, I'll vote for you. In the old days, this sort of thing was alluded to in you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And it is so damned blatant. Like, we understand Flint is fucking corrupt. We understand this. We don't like it, but we understand it. However, could you have some decency to sweep it under a rug? Just a little bit of decency to sweep it under a rug. And, council doesn't have to have 9 people constantly voting in lockstep. That's actually bad for them, at least with an agenda coming from one party, and I'm going to say from the mayor's office, because it's categorically true. You can point at it. Where the mayor's office points, council follows. And if all 9 were to do it, it looks too convenient. So he's happy. He's happy that 3 people don't agree with him for the most part on most issues, because then it gets reported, council votes 6-3. Council votes 6-3. It shows that, yes, there's some dissent, and yes, we do listen. However, we're still going to move forward with what the majority of the city wants, except it's not what the majority of the city wants. It's majority of the voter base. Remember, in our last mayoral election, our last election cycle period, we had about 12,000 voters out of 80-something thousand people. This is not what majority of the city wants. We throw money away at stupid projects, and then we don't even get that money's worth. It was just a few months ago that they redid the entirety of Miller Road between Hammerberg and, goddamn, it stopped right by where that Domino's and Subway is. Yeah, that is Ballinger. Shit, I live off it. I should know that road. And now there's potholes in there that my truck lurches. They have massive ass cones up. So we didn't even get the $1 million+ worth, several $1 million+ worth of value added to that. And it broke during the winter of all times. I'm sorry. Usually it's the heat that messes up asphalt. We've got side roads that look like bombed out craters. And then we've got, hell, I'm looking at a street right now. I see massive ass cracks in it. We don't get the value for our money. The money is going through and it's being used on stupid shit and stupid agendas. We don't have a voice in the city of Flint. Until recently, we didn't have a voice on the school board. Or at least we had a few who listened, but majority went with a certain way. A certain person would point and they would all follow, or a certain group would point and they would all follow. For the most part, there are exceptions, one or two. However, when the board has one or two exceptions, it's still going to vote or still going to go with what the majority say. So we said we want our kids to have up-to-date school books. They're still learning from books that came out in the 90s. We said we want our kids to have facilities that they aren't going to pass out in because of the heat. They're still doing that. We said we don't want our kids to live in a mold or study in a moldy ass environment. Go into any of the schools. Go into any of them. Mold everywhere. They flood constantly. They drip and leak. And they hardly have heat. This is not a school system. This is, in essence, a daycare prison for your kids. When it comes to the county commissioners, how many of you showed up and voiced who you wanted them to appoint? And this is just, 2 weeks ago. I've seen the pictures. I know I didn't go. I was doing my own thing. I saw the pictures. There were dozens of people there. People were making their voices heard. And you were ignored. Again. And before that, there was an appointment onto the county commissioner's board. On the board itself, we were not given the say. We were not trusted with the say. And it all leads into this. We do not have a voice here in Flint. You've got to whisper. I think many of you agree with this. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching me if you didn't agree. And it goes even further. When you watch local news, mainstream news, ABC, Fox, whatever affiliates they have out here, honestly, I've never paid attention because it's bullshit anyway. You get city council approves monumentous new budget. Or you get city council approves much needed repairs. County Board of Commissioners goes forth with plans on road commission. Or Flint City Schools go forward with a brave new agenda. They're silenced you. They're making you feel like you are the minority, like you are not part of a group that has a consensus. And it is wrong. Our media does it. Our 3 boards of government here in the city of Flint do it. And then you've got small media productions like this. And yes, I'll say it, we're small. We're not monetized. Hell, we're just here. And then we have to do the Facebook hokey pokey because once a week I open my mouth about something that one person doesn't like and Mickey has to write a fucking email. So they're trying to silence us now. And you'll see slander go about. And it isn't just us either. Mr. Arthur Woodson here. He gets slandered quite often because he speaks his mind. And he speaks on unpopular subjects. It's fucking true. Week in and week out. Day in, day out. Year in, year out. This has been happening since the 80s. And is a simple process to see. When things went tits up in Michigan, when things went tits up here in Flint, you were started to be ignored. Why? Because there's business interest. Everyone's money left. So what money was here had to stay in certain people's pockets because they didn't want to fall behind. So they started getting into the shade, into the darkness, into areas where you could not see and you had no voice. And they've kept it that way. And it wasn't until recently that any of this happened. A podcast in the 90s, yeah, sure, you could have radio, but then you're dealing with FCC. Dear God, don't let them hear you say fuck on a radio. Here's a comment from Shardy. A great example of us not having a voice here in Flint. I went to one of the meetings about the master plan this time 9 years ago, and it was quite ironically when they wanted us to have one traditional public high school here along with shrinking the city, and I most certainly wasn't for none of that. You're right. And they've still made it going that way anyway. You showed up, you made your opinion known. I'd hope so. Even just sitting there and voicing with a simple affirmation, yes, or I agree, or applause when someone went up for the public speaking. And you were ignored. I'm pretty sure 9 years ago when you did this, majority of people were against it. And then the Board of Commissioners still moved forward with it. This is a terrible example. This is something that we did not want to see, that when you're in high school and you're reading in civics, how you're told a representative democracy such as ours, everyone has a voice. We are proof otherwise. We have kids right now running around, and I say kids, but 14 through 19, having to try to make ends meet through any means possible. Whether it be just through a side hustle or things that have them encounter law enforcement. Because we've pushed out our industries. When the auto industry left, we didn't allow anyone else to come back in. Well, I can't say we. It was certain interest. Certain groups with money had a defined interest in keeping Flint the way it was, in keeping power in the hands of a few, and keeping money greased around into the hands of a few, while the rest of us have to sit here and wait. We're told in the news that crime is down. We hear it from the mayor's office. Yet last night, there was a shooting at a local club. 3 young men arrested. That doesn't sound to me like crime is down. A few years ago, we had 100 and something odd murders here in Flint. Let's contrast that to places like Chicago. Chicago has multiple million residents, and they had 500 and something. Flint, not even a fraction of the size, not even a percentile in all real respects, had a fifth of that. We've gone too easy on our elected officials, where they lightened up and they want us downtrodden. And we have not pushed back hard enough. And I'm not saying go in and disrupt. I'm not saying be loud. I'm never going to publicly, especially on video, say be violent. I am going to say go in to city council as often as you can. Sometimes you just can't make it. I understand that. I am the same way. But as often as you can, and use your time in public speaking. Make your voice heard, whether they run with it or not, because then there's a track record showing that you are not listened to. Do it at the school board every week you can, whether you have children in the school or not. Why? Because you have nieces, nephews, cousins, grandchildren. Hell, you've got neighbors' kids. And unless they're little brats like I used to be, smashing out your window with a baseball, you usually want the best for them. Yeah, I was a little asshole kid, my bad. County Board of Commissioners. Every chance you get, use that public speaking. Make them wait hours to get to a bullshit agenda. to go through all of you, every last one. I don't care if you go up there and you just mention some offhand ordinance that you dislike. You don't have to go in support of any one council member or whatever they call the board of commissioners. Oh, commissioner or school board member. You don't have to voice support if you don't want to. Oftentimes, that just leads them to thinking that you are straight up against them because of X, Y, and Z, when in fact you are against policy. Policy is what matters. Policy is what dictates and drives our city. And we, the people, need to be the driving force behind that. Every week that you can. Honestly, I am very shy. I am an introvert. It took a lot to get me on camera, and now I realize there's no one in this room but Mickey, and I'm just talking into space. It does get picked up and come to here, but shit happens. And I'm glad that I have this voice, and I get to interact with you folks. And I'm glad that so many of you come on to 810 and onto, the Wyntis Hall show when I am a co-host or in this case, a guest host, or on Trevor's rant, or when I make an appearance on 80. I am so happy to have this voice in this position because it helps me know I'm not alone. And I hope I'm letting you know you're not alone. You are not some outcast, some political pariah who is on the fringe of society that no one else agrees with. For the most part, you are the majority. The reason why we don't get people voting into office, those that are more amenable to our agenda of making Flint flourish, of making the city better, is because we, as the people of Flint, have been beaten down so damned much, it's hard to get motivated to go out and vote because you don't think you're going to be listened to. And I wholeheartedly feel that. I actually went through this myself on a personal level, where people hear happiness feels out of reach. At least happiness with your government and the way the city is going. All you want is to be content. And I can't blame you for that. You want a roof over your head. You want food on the table. You want to be able to get to and from a job. Hell, you want to just have the fucking job. I wholeheartedly feel that and understand. And a lot of us don't have that. And a lot of people don't want to break with the status quo because they're afraid difference, change will bring about a change in their lifestyle that could stop this. That could stop your contentment. But we have to take a chance because our city is shrinking. Our schools are falling further and further behind. Our county is encroaching further and further into the city. And now we're about to have the state with its hand up our ass again like a sock puppet. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That was someone being politically correct. However, I am not politically correct. That's just fucking stupid. We are constantly spending more money than we're bringing in. We are constantly expecting a populace who has less income, making less income every year, doesn't have access to decent fucking jobs, to pay more, to live in a place that is failing. No wonder so many people are up and running. As soon as they can afford to, they are gone. In the past, people, when we had money, looked at things from Detroit as having quality. So we'd spend money in Detroit. Detroit has failed. Now we go to Amazon. We don't look around our own neighborhoods and our own community for things that we may need in our household. If you can't get it from Amazon, drive to Walmart. We don't go to our own meat markets much anymore. Our farmers market is a joke. I walked in there once to buy some meat. I wanted to support someone locally. It cost me a couple $100, and then I couldn't find any of the vegetables that I needed. Is it through lack of support? Maybe. But I think it's that we have a lack of drive to improve the area. When someone says, I want to be a butcher, we laugh at them. When someone says, I want to grow some vegetables and sell them at the market, we laugh at them. When instead we should be patting them on the back and asking, how can I help? That doesn't mean monetarily. If you don't have it, you don't have it. But you know what? If you have a free weekend and they've got a small chunklet of land, you know what? Even just a few lots in the city, because everyone's about growing gardens, ask them for a hoe or a shovel. Get out there with them. Get down and dirty. I guarantee you it'll improve your community, or at least improve your neighbor's outlook on the city. It's all recently been about how can I make my ends meet? And I don't blame you. I've been there. Who here has heard of me prior to 2022? No one, because I sat in my home. And I had some great people. You know, I decided to run. I had some great people that I met, and they said, we like your message. And this isn't just 810. 810 gave me the platform to stand up here in the bully pulpit and scream and shout. But this is you. You folks have encouraged me. And now I'm trying to return the favor. We need to do better for ourselves. We need to improve our own engagement within our community. We need to excite our neighbors to vote. And don't just talk about it during election season. Talk about it every day. All politics is local. And get on. Ms. Wyntis does a wonderful job of putting the city council agenda up there. Read through it. Read through each ordinance. Think about how this is going to impact you, how this is going to impact the community. If this is something that actually works, talk to your neighbors. Say, hey, I really like this ordinance coming down the pipe. It's going to bring new businesses in here that pay a decent wage, something more than 15 an hour. I mean, let's face it, 15 an hour used to be something. Now it's jack. Or, hey, this philanthropy group wants to come in and take over this plot of land, this historical plot of land, and make some duplexes out of that. I don't really like this idea. No, I think the community should be more involved in that one. How about I look up who this philanthropy group, see guys, I can't talk right now. But let's look up this philanthropy group, check out their financials, and see who they are, and see what people who live in their current projects have to say. There's always something we can do. And yes, the agreement's been signed, and yes, everything's been done and said. However, I always love that however portion of everything. If you put enough pressure on city council, because at the end of the day, they're all politicians. They might be regular Mike, Joe, John, Betty, whatever. Give each one of them a random nickname, assign it to them, and then yes, each one is a regular Joe, and they are a politician. They want to be reelected. I guarantee you. No, I can't say that. Mr. Mace has corrected me when I said I guarantee you're 100%. So I honestly feel like when terms come up, you will more than likely see their names on that ballot again. Let them know that if they do not start following the will of the city of Flint, not just the folks that get out and vote, but the actual folks who live here, every one of us, into an extent of 60 to 70% in agreement and consensus, then they're not getting your vote. I don't care what they're promised on the side. I don't care if someone's getting a back end deal, because you know what? You lose that seat, you lose that back end deal. Yes, politics here in Flint are dirty. Yes, it's Chicago style. Yes, they're open about it. Fine, be open. But you got to understand, you're not going to have these opportunities to enrich yourself in public funds if you aren't just going to listen to us and give us what we need at the same time. And then we need to start working toward clean politicians, transparent politicians. How often do we have closed door meetings, closed sessions that they aren't allowed to talk about in open meetings? They're not even allowed to take notes. Yeah, what's up, Mickey?
I got a question for you.
Oh.
How do you feel about that? Them backdoor meetings?
Man. All right, look. I've been beating up on the guy a lot lately, but he isn't bloody enough for me. Okay. Dennis Pfeiffer ran and said he wants transparency. He needs that transparency. I will be transparent. And how come there's all these closed door meetings? How come that you don't object to them? Because there is no piece of information that any government should have, especially on the local level, that needs to be obscured from the public view. Ever. If it's dealing with personal information, say officer such and such had a sexual scandal, then blank out her name and give her a random nickname that you all agree on. Yeah, her name's, you guys don't even agree on it. Don't call each other. Let's have the clerk just assign her a random nickname. Joni B.
And I got a question highlighter for me.
Oh.
It's for the it's from the host itself.
Miss Wyntis, I was going to let you cover most of the Liddell issue, but I can make a comment on that. Moving money the way that they've done it, I can't agree with, because we see so much money move into special contracts or special projects that don't really benefit a community. It's just something that they can stand up and say, I did this. Okay, cool. You want to go clean a park. But does that park actually enrich the lives of the constituents? Great, I've got something pretty. I can look out my window, but across the street. But when I look to my left and my right, there's houses burned down. There's houses full of trash. I see mattresses inside. No. Is that a saber-toothed lion? Or is that a goddamn raccoon? Or is that a rat? How about you get to work on the blight? And yes, I saw that there is a blight cleanup. That's beautiful and wonderful. How come this is the first one I've heard of from her? I'm sorry. Yeah, it was cold. You know what? People aren't dumping as much in the cold. You can get a head start. You can get a head start on the year. But I'll leave Liddell to you. This one is weekly. We have a new episode of What is Flint City Council Doing? It is. This week it was two grown men almost getting in a fight. I'll be honest with you. I got money on the old one.
I got to jump in this with you. How do you feel about that?
Look, I understand that in governance, you're going to have disagreements and things are going to get heated. I understand that. I understand words are passed back and forth that have meanings that people may not like or may be hurtful. However, I think that all council, 1 through 9, needs to be able to sit down and remove their feelings from the equation. So two grown men losing their tempers, calling each other's names, and about to throw some fists. Look, if you're going to start doing fights, then at least sell tickets and make it pay-per-view. Make it benefit the city one way or another.
But I think it was just one.
I think it was just one, but he took grave offense to a word.
I get it. Words. But I mean, if ain't nobody saying you, this the thing. This what I was told.
Those are words that I will not say.
Yes, sir. I pray you don't. This what I look at. This what I look at with that fires with the councilman, with the councilman from the 3rd Ward. He always, I mean, to me, you ain't. They say only hit dogs holler. So whatever words he was saying, if you know that's not you, it shouldn't bother you.
I've never heard that only hit dogs holler, but it makes sense. It's much like push on the patient until they squeal. Then you're hitting the right area. But I'm not. That is not an area I'm going to step into.
No,
but
I get it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Like today, and I do want to say this for Wyntis when she come back on, far as with the councilwoman from the second ward.
Mhm.
She done got on there and just said this platform is with misinformation.
Look, we've been called misinformation. We've been called bullies. Hell, we've been called terrorists.
And have you once seen me say anything? I just let it go.
You are the best producer in the world because you let the drama flow over you and around you and away from you. You don't engage. Why? Because it causes the waters to get even more rocky, right? However, I'll say this. While we may be small, while we may be not running around with a news van and a $20,000 camera, we do have influence. Whether it be 1,000 people, 400 people, even 10 people. Influence is influence. And directly attacking a group that is trying to hold you accountable. Because let's be fair and honest here. Every media group in the city of Flint, at least mainstream, zeroes in on 3 people for negative reviews. The 1st ward, the 5th ward, and the 6th ward. We're just keeping it fair. We're keeping the check and the balance. So the 2nd ward, the 3rd ward, the 4th ward, even though she's my family, the 7th, 8th, and 9th, you don't get as much negative publicity as anyone else. You don't get as much of that attention as the other 3. We're just pulling it up to be par.
No, because they have the mainstream media will have you think we're living in like
Sterling Heights.
Yeah, they'll have you think everything is like
the
water is not still ain't fixed.
And that goes back to we don't have a voice in that. So our water's not fixed, but they say water's fine. They don't call out the administration for the website saying our water's been good since X, Y, and Z. No, they just missed the concerned pastor's deadline, and now they got another deadline. They're probably going to miss that. They just missed out on the payouts, which, granted, that's not on the city. That's on the lawyers. Jesus. But the city did have a decent size say in, yes, you should accept this change payout. That was cold. Mm-hmm. Oh, don't worry, guys. When you get your $1,000 payment, when it finally does come through, which, props to M Live for calling that out recently as well.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
M
Live M Live.
It wasn't Mid-Michigan, was it?
No, Mid-Michigan's the one that I heard about the 2 or 3 young boys being young men being arrested.
Oh, wow.
Right. And I think I got that off of Arthur's page. He's the one that screenshot and shared. Oh, so thank you, Mr. Art. But here's the deal. It goes back to we don't have an actual large source media here that listens to us or actually looks at issues. It's almost like they have friends in an office that is asking them favors or pulling strings or maybe exchanging favors. It's almost like this person could cancel out their opponent during a mayoral race. It's almost like they could cancel a debate and then turn around and talk to these press people and say, hey, we're going to go ahead and reschedule. Weird. It's almost like one person has enough of a say or enough pull in the media here to get things overlooked.
Now that's rough right there, what you just said. You said, damn, just speaking on that, I might be getting another.
Well,
I just thought about it. Lord, yeah, I'll probably be writing another letter tomorrow.
Actually,
next week.
Mickey, since you're behind the computer, will you do me a favor and go ahead and drop the YouTube link into the chat? Now, the folks of you already watching on YouTube, thank you very much. We are trying to migrate over to YouTube, so we have shut up, phone. So we have less issues with the Facebook Gestapo.
Right.
Because the thought police there are running rampant. We're going to run into the same thing a bit with YouTube, a little bit less, but we are going to diversify our platforms. We'll eventually be on, hopefully, Instagram. We're going to have the little tiki-takis running around if the stupid national bill don't get passed. I'm hoping to get us onto Rumble, because then you can say whatever you want as long as it don't break a law. And we have less of this pressure to toe the line, because honestly, if we're just going to toe the line, what's the difference between us and ABC or Fox? There ain't one. All right.
No,
you know what? There is actually something about that. So Dennis Pfeiffer has proved to be on the wrong side of two very large and important issues. Very large and important ones. And some say it's because he was told by our current mayor. Now, mind you, this is all rhetoric and
allegedly.
Rumor. Huh?
Allegedly.
Yeah, rhetoric, rumor. This is not confirmed. I will not pretend it is. But he's been told, hey, I think you would make a good mayor. You know what? When I am done, I will endorse you. And that got him to go along with Stat EMS, a company that got slapped so hard for financial crimes. They ran so hard out of the damn city that they didn't even pay their employees their last paycheck on time. Now, you know how hard it is to go out and look for a job when you have childcare bills? That is a slap in the face. And let's face it, that deal, even if they weren't doing some criminal bullshit, that deal was still bad for the city of Flint. Having to wait hours for an ambulance, having to watch someone die waiting for an ambulance, being told that their goal is less than 10 minutes, and watching the clock tick by 30 minutes, an hour. I told you guys. I told you I got lucky. I had the training that if I needed to, I could either keep myself alive long enough to drive my damn self to a hospital or do the same with my kids. And I encouraged you to get some sort of training as well. Turns out those words seem to be a little prophetic, didn't they? Now we've got other EMS companies back in the city, and I'm thankful for it, because when you have one group propped up by any form of government, it becomes complacent because it's your only damn choice. So I see that's what happened. And then we have the other issue that he was on, where he didn't even get credit for his part in it. That sounds like some chump shit to me. Where the man said, yes, I am for this $300 water credit. It didn't count as a payment. He said, you'll be able to save this money and go buy groceries, or seniors will be able to buy medications. It got passed. Water bills still kept climbing. People thought that it counted as a payment and their water bill got shut off, or their water got shut off. Okay. And then he didn't even get credit on it. There was a little postcard that came in the mail and it said, Mayor Neely's $300 water credit. I don't know how you could be so dumb and so out of touch to fall for something like that. And, I hate to bring it up because I feel like an asshole for doing it. But let's be honest, guys. I'm an asshole. I'm not a nice guy. I have manners. But if I think you're a dirtbag, I'll bury you. I think it might be, in all honesty, the man had a stroke.
Oh.
I think there might. I mean, who else is going to sit there and just fiddle around and puddle around. Who else is going to sit there and just, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, it sounds great. When Neely has had yeah, I'm getting the death stare.
No, I'm just because.
But when Neely has had a track record of telling multiple people he will endorse them for political offices and then pulls back on it, who's going to trust him? Unless it's someone who has a memory problem.
No,
sorry, Wyntis, but you know what?
I read the comment too. I said, "Listen, no, I agree. Listen, man, I agree with
show
you.
is about the truth and the tea,
right? I agree with you with the $300 though, because I want to know when you to go tell somebody. I need you to go tell the people. You know, like we got to sell this $300 is gonna help with this. It's gonna be for groceries. I would have loved to been in there just to."
I can already smell the thoughts that came off of Neely, right? When I go back to it, I can smell the thoughts. I need someone with some credibility because I have none. Who on council says the least? Who on council makes a fool of themselves the least at that point?
Mm-hmm.
Who can I get to take that hit for me? And then, like a sign from God, the clouds parted and a ray hit Dennis Pfeiffer.
Nah, I ain't gonna bring God in that. I'm gonna tell you what it was. Allegedly, I'm gonna just go with this. Whatever deal, he had to get Dennis something. I'm telling you right now.
I mean, that's politics. Let's be honest with it.
No, he had to.
Politics. There's always shuffling in deals now.
Yeah, but I'm saying.
I mean, was it say maybe more attention to his ward?
But I don't know. But can you imagine? I'm saying he had to give him something. Now I'm being shit. You couldn't, because if you go tell me like, because I know when he looked like, man, you know, when the people wake up, because you know it's always you can lull a person to sleep.
Yeah, you can.
And then when they wake up and realize they've been hit.
Yeah. You fall asleep and you're catching a sock full of batteries to the face.
Right. When you wake up, you realize this wasn't a regular pillow fight.
No. And I want to be clear here. I've been beating the hell out of Dennis Pfeiffer for the past few weeks because I feel let down. At a point, I met the man. I thought, okay, he's the stern, silent type. That's cool. I thought he had some integrity. And he may well. At the same time, I see his patterns of behavior, and I feel like I've been let down. I feel personally betrayed. So while I am coming at him the way I am, while I did just bring up a medical condition that he had, I want it to be known this isn't a very personal thing. I'm just saying how it could be. There is a possibility here. Either that, or in my mind, the man had to be on drugs.
I knew you was going to go there.
Look.
No, I get what you're saying, because I'm looking like I couldn't have went in there consciously like, man, you thinking giving people saying $300 this water is terrible. That's why I'm going to really wait till Wyntis come back to go at the other council people. Mm-hmm. But I get what you're saying. Like, man, why would you try to sell something like that to the people?
Right.
And then like that was going, I mean, like I said, maybe it was people wasn't paying attention, but it's like it's like Flint. We started getting more blows at the blows. Okay, the water, but these was all his deals that he set up. Even that the EMT stat. Yep. These was all his deals. Like you said, this was things he did. So all these failures, just as his accomplishments, you give them to him, but you also acknowledge his failures.
Yeah, right. Like, he has done things in the past that I admired. He heard of a insurance settlement where they had to pay like 10 times the amount and the city was about to lose a metric ton of money. He goes, hold up, what the fuck? And he has it reevaluated to make sure the city's not about to lose a metric ton of money. You know what? I sat there and I go, dude, that's all right. That sounds like some fiscal conservative stuff. This sounds like he's trying to save the city money because the city is hemorrhaging it. And then he goes and pulls this. He goes and sells you on a $300 water credit. He plays on that water bills were suspended during the water crisis. Then they got turned back on, and everyone was hit with this expense that they weren't paying for the longest while. That financial hit, everyone was panicking. Some people still didn't want to pay their bill because their water wasn't clean, but the city was losing money. So then they got hit, and now they're getting desperate. I can understand that desperate too. Like, shit, I am now $2,000 deep into the city of Flint, and now they're offering me a $300 water credit. That, $300, I'm still gonna have to pay a lot, but I'll be paid off a little bit sooner. But then it turns out it's not even a payment. It didn't count as a payment. It just got tacked onto the back end.
Wow.
So they took that, say $2,000. Now you only owe $1,700, but your bill is still due this month. Right? And then here in the city of Flint, we have a problem with violence. We have a problem with car accidents. Jesus, you can't take a 2-minute walk around your block without seeing a car missing its fender. We have a lot of medical issues. So it was played on the people's fears. And they said, hey, if we give these people an exclusivity contract, then we can guarantee that there's no fighting over calls and they can be here almost immediately. But we never got that, playing off of our fears again.
Right.
And that's how it's been happening, because it's always them playing off of our fears one way or another. When the auto industry moved, it was your fears of not being able to support your family anymore.
Oh, popcorn.
It was your fears of not being able to support your family anymore. And then in the 90s, it was your fears of the drug epidemic coming into your neighborhoods. Yeah, they brought the drugs in, but city council got a whole bunch of stuff passed then because of the fears. And they didn't face the consequences because of the fears. And now they're playing on the fears of high crime here. So what do? They turn around, they say we're doing X, Y, and Z, and look, crime is down, except it's not. The X, Y, and Z is how it's just reported, is how it's responded to, and how it's logged, if it's logged. I called the cops months ago. I'm still waiting for them to show up. I'm not fucking kidding. I sold one of my cars. Lady got into a hit and run. Mind you, I haven't had this car in months. I even went down to the DMV and said, take it off my record. This is no longer in my name. The woman needs to register her damn self. They still came to me. They're so backlogged and so backwards. I was at the bank. God, March 1st. I went to go withdraw money to go pay on my car loan and get a few things done and put money into a savings account and not attach my debit card. I had a man try to mug me. Yeah. So there are actual legitimate concerns and fears of crime here. And what do? They tell you it's down and they change the way it's reported. So you feel safer. You aren't. You don't have the media on your side. You don't have 2 of the 3 governments on your side anymore. I say 2 of the 3 because now with Mr. Clack leading the school board, he at least listens. And he listens not just to the emotional pleas, but to facts. If you can present him with some hard evidence, he picks it up. He does his own research to make sure you're not bullshitting him like any person should do. And then he proceeds with a plan of motion or a plan of action. And, I get a little bit of flack periodically from folks on the city council or folks in one of the governments. They say, you don't know the whole thing, especially when it comes to numbers. And I say, I work with what's publicly available. Going back to those closed meetings, I work with what's publicly available. I know I'm pretty sane. I know I'm pretty rational. I'm somewhat logical. And if I'm drawing these conclusions with the information available, why aren't you putting everything else out to clear your name? Or are you putting everything else out to show that you're above board? In my mind, if you're showing me this, what's being hidden from me? If I'm coming to these conclusions, what conclusions will I come to if I see the rest? What kind of insanity is going on there? This is the city we live in, and we are content. We have food on the table. We've got a few jobs. They aren't great. Hell, if you can make ends meet working Family Dollar, God bless you. I know I couldn't. But now we need to start working toward being happy. The first step about being happy when looking at a city that you live in is to make it amenable with your views and your wants. So first off, we have to start putting pressure on city council to stop passing stupid ordinances and spending money they don't have. Because when they spend money they don't have, it has to come out of your pocket. It comes from you. You are the ATM. Yes, they get money from state. Yes, they get money from XYZ. They're out of ARPA funds. They don't know what happened to the fucking wind funds. The cops don't even pull people over for driving like assholes or without insurance or without tags. So they don't have income from that. So where's their income? Your taxes and your water bill. You have to put pressure on them to spend less. And if they say, well, we need it, then you put pressure on them to make cuts elsewhere to make those ends meet. Look, I can't even agree with that. Like, there's state and federal witness protection programs. Is the city so damn bad? Do we have a mafia problem here where you need witness protection? I'm sorry, I don't see Al Pacino running around right now. So why are you so invested in a witness protection program? I haven't heard of people refusing to take the stand out of fear. I haven't heard of witnesses getting shot up in their homes or just disappearing. Maybe, though, because that would show crime, the media is not covering it. Who knows? Maybe it's a double-edged sword, the things that they're doing. And cutting themselves with it now, too. Maybe we deserve to know these things. Why is the witness protection program so vital? And if it is so vital, then how about they cut in other departments? I'm pretty sure throwing even more money at the CFO's office or Wigan, throwing more money there, it didn't help your financial problems. That's the first step. The second step is to bring more money in. So you hold on to more of your own damn money, and then you need to make more. We need to find council people and commissioners who are amenable to bringing in industries and businesses here that bring in outside money so people can make theirs and then start up their own personal businesses that can flourish, that don't have to go into debt to a damn bank and then close up shop after a year. Tell you what, if you walk in there with 20% of the funds you need to start your business, you're a lot more likely to succeed. You're a lot more likely to keep your doors open as well because you're not having to pay as much to a bank to keep your doors open. And understand that 20% of that money, that is a lot of money. You don't get that the way things are now. You need the outside money to come in first. Let's take a look at it. You're not going to get small business loans from, say, the city. The ARPA money is already gone. So what we need is a larger business or a larger industry to come in, start hiring the folks of Flint. They keep their money. They get paid. They keep their money. They save it up. Maybe even get ahead on some bills for once. And then you go to a bank or an investment group, say, I have 20%. Mm-hmm.
You can hear me. She said people are getting killed if they talk. It's real and primary. Most of the homicides are black people, and the streets don't like talking or snitching.
Okay. Cool. Why don't we hear about it so often then? What's our murder rate at, Miss Burns? And I'm not coming after you. I am, however, saying that this wasn't widely talked about. And I get it. Yes, people, hell, we live in a very violent city. There's a reason why I'm a firearms enthusiast. Right? It isn't because I think they're cool. Okay, well, that's part of it. But you know what? Engineering aside, however, what programs could we drop money on across the board to fund that then? Because spending money that we don't have doesn't get us anywhere but further in the hole. You can't run a household like this. How can you run a city like this? Like I said, I'm not angry with you. I'm just trying to make a point. So let's take a few minutes and get some engagements. By the way, if I'm on the top engagement list for 810, there's a problem. I work here. More comments, guys. More comments, more likes. That's on the Facebook metrics. Let's get the hell off Facebook, though. Get onto YouTube. Yeah, yeah. I get Mickey in trouble with the Zuckerberg Gestapo quite often. Let's face it. You mention anything with that V word or that C thing.
I think when it's said and done, my writing skills gonna be back how they was in high school.
High school.
I've been pleased with Facebook.
Yeah, and it's sad that some people behind the scenes have to come after this platform and start reporting everything as hate speech or bullying or harassment. Trust me, I'm not bullying. If I were, you would damn well know it. I'm not harassing. If I were, you would damn well know it. I don't, because I think that's either my Facebook is jacked or if it's on the YouTubes. Yes, please. Each case is different. But where can we move money from in the city as it is?
No, they used some money. That money came from the aqua fund, if I'm not mistaken. But if I am, Councilwoman Tanya Burns, I stand to be corrected.
Yeah, like
But I
fact check us.
I thought some of that the program is now being supported by the aqua fund, for which if it qualifies for and is in compliance, which will bring these families closer. See, yeah, but see that it's so crazy that it's taking this long.
Yeah.
I'm
Then
sure that this ain't started.
this gets it started up with ARPA funds. What's our yearly cost on it? How do we keep this up? There's so much going on with our money here. And this was one thing. Thank you for answering our questions and concerns. There are others, though. And I get it. You're just one of 3 opposed to 9. You can't do it by yourself, obviously. So I wholeheartedly believe you would if you could. You're a strong woman. But laws are written this way for a reason, so we don't have dictators and tyrants. Could you imagine me in charge of shit?
I mean, I look at it like this. This isn't a long-term fix, but it will help get the 130 plus cases off the book.
Yeah, once we get some fucking detectives to look at them. Sorry, Miss Burns. But like, I love you to death, but we are so fucking backlogged. And how many detectives do we have? How many civilians are we paying just to look at this? And the civilians are getting paid more than the cops to do the cops' jobs. Shit, if we just hired some detectives. Oh, wait, we've got a bad track record. We don't pay them their bonuses. Shit. Once again, not on you.
Flint got a lot of holes in the boat, but you got to get somebody in that want to fix it, and not nobody that just putting patches on it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
we need some of that flex tape being slapped on there, and then we just need a new boat.
No, really, it's just like you need to do fix it the first time. That's just like I understand. I understand we've been living here in Michigan as far as the weather, but why would you keep throwing patching these streets up when you could fix them the first time? But instead of them
What's that old saying, man? If you can't find time to do it right the first time, you have to find, or it will make you find time the second time to fix it. Damn right. Hell, during COVID, we didn't have anyone in our county jails. I'm still waiting on a request to see some finances there. Because let's face it, if we didn't have anyone in our jails, why were we still paying for food into the jails or laundry or
should be done when he was placed in office. I agree with that. What you think?
Oh yeah. Look, as chief of police, you are the public safety, the head of public safety. Period. In the story, you are supposed to be the subject matter expert, right? If you do not have these plans in place and you're just scrambling to put out small little brush fires instead of coming up with a plan to prevent them in the first place, you've already failed. You failed from day one. We see this daily, right? Just as yesterday, now it'd be about 20 hours ago, Mid Michigan posted the article about those young men being arrested after a violent crime. How are we going to prevent this? And yes, a lot of it is to do with our own community and our own culture in trying to fix some of the holes that come from the families and from the schools. However, there needs to be a plan to prevent crime from our public safety officers as well. It needs to come from all sides. Oh yeah. Hell, I was going back from Walmart the other day, and as I get to Taco Bell on Ballinger, cop car goes into oncoming traffic to swing around me to the left, and I didn't see him at all. This dude, lights and sirens, and he burned rubber and actually fishtailed going around that corner. Holy shit, Batman. But that's all you hear. And whether it be that arsonist, apparently single, who knows, maybe he's ready to mingle. But no, that arsonist and our fire trucks trying to get out there. And, we've got some brandy new fucking fire trucks coming. By the way, which firehouse are those going to? Which side of town does that cover? That's the only one you know? The one behind City Hall. That's not Pearson and Mott. All right. Or we've got ambulances always scrambling. Hell, we got old folks. We've got X, Y, and Z happening. Yeah. I mean, hell, by my house, I've got drag racers. I've got drunk drivers coming up and down a bar. That bar constantly gets in fights. Hell, there was a dead body found around the corner, 8 months ago? Yeah. No. Jesus Christ, no. But I tell you what, people get riled up about hearing some random dude in Tucson getting shot in gang violence. But we don't even know the names of our neighbors dying here. It's crazy, ain't it? Hey, I brought that up once before, and it blew my damned mind. Mm-hmm. Yep. When people leave their house because, hey, it's a fucking nice day outside, shit happens. So you've got an issue with person C over there, you might say something. Something might get escalated. I tell you what, for the first little while when I came here, because of Flint's reputation, I didn't let my kids go anywhere without me. It's getting to that point again. It really is. I'm afraid that something's going to happen, whether it's just crossfire or just, whatchamacallit, just a misunderstanding or a random incident of what the fuck. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Look, Flint has multiple sources of lead poisoning, is all we're going to put it at. Part of it's from the water. That's all you need. All you need is 5, honestly. So look, going back to that, like I said, they don't want council to be all on the same page. But if you have a 5-4 split, that also looks bad. That says I don't have, I'm bordering right on 50-50. I want it to seem like a majority of people agree with me. That 5-6, or sorry, that 6-3 split is golden. Is golden. And here's the thing. If you go out and talk with the folks, many of them say they didn't vote. They'll support those three more than they do their own council person if you go into other wards. And TikTok, I do not like that fucking platform. However, all these TikToks that Eric Mays have brought light to a situation, because trying to sit through a city council meeting on YouTube, I'm playing League of Legends, and I would rather shave with a rusty spoon than play League of Legends. But trying to get through it is arduous. TikTok, thankfully, bringing attention to it, brings up the interesting parts, the bright parts, the whatever. You see it, and you get that quick little snippet. Now you're interested, and you go to the entire context of it. What caused this outburst? What caused this actual moment of interest? Right? So we're finally starting to get a little bit of transparency. We're starting to get a little bit of interest, and it's great. But we've run over our hour. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Miss Wyntis, I hope I did you proud. I know I'm not beautiful like you. I know I'm not a star like you. I hope I was an okay substitute, because I could never take your place. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and continuing to support the Wyntis Hall Show. Yeah. We've got True Talks with Trevor, or Trevor's Rant, whatever we're calling it this week, tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going on about. I think I went through a lot of material tonight. However, I can just sit there and start ranting. And then we do have an event coming up, Water Remembers. This is at the McCree Theater, ladies and gentlemen, April 8th, I believe, 3 to 5 p.m. Yeah, Saturday. So make sure to, if you can't show up, find some way of supporting. Just share it. It's on Flint Courier News. It's also shared on the 810 News page. So please be sure to get the word out about this. Let's make it the event that it deserves to be. You guys have a wonderful night.
I got a good sign out. Oh, did I get it right?